two questions kind of flip side of each other. The federal government right now, on some things they seem to be taking too much control and usurping power, and on some things they're sort of abdicating their duty. And so on the first part, where does it stand now with they said they were going to pull funds because of some of the COVID policies that you had, and they said you sort of spent the stimulus money improperly, and there, maybe a court battle and all this. Has there been any Democrats in Arizona that have come out and said, hey, don't do that, put the brakes on that to the administration? I mean, they seem kind of silent.
Well, first I want to say that there is dramatic federal overreach. We're seeing it all the time in Arizona. They seem to be more worried about masks in Washington, D.C. than math for our kids, and we want to get these young people caught up. They've missed a lot through the last 18 months. And yes, there are Democrats in state that are pointing fingers and being whistleblowers on what is the responsibility of the state. They think the Biden administration should take charge of K-12 education. We think they should take charge of the border.
But do they actually want the federal government to take back that money?
That's the letters we read. That's what they'd like to see.
Democrats in Arizona?
Democrat Congress people in Arizona have made public overtures to the administration to claw back these dollars.
Are there any specific examples you can point to?
Well, the letter that I've read was from Greg Stanton. I imagine he could have got everybody in the delegation to sign on, but he probably wanted to take all the credit.
So the flip side of that, with the immigration.
With border security.
With border security.
Not in immigration.
Well, yeah, sure,
okay.
Sure. So with border security, are you seeing a difference? I mean, what is the difference that you're seeing in Arizona with Biden as president versus with Trump? How much of it has to do with policy changes? So what's the difference in the incoming, and what's the difference in the policy?
Okay, so the difference in the incoming is with the Trump-Pence administration, we had a secure border. With the Biden administration, we have mass migration. Not illegal immigration. These are mass migrations. 1.5 million people that have been interdicted. That doesn't count the people that we haven't caught. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they're from. That's a national security issue. The opioid, methamphetamine, and fentanyl overdoses that we're seeing, those are all coming across the southern border. That's a public health issue. We've got human trafficking, the drug trafficking, child sex trafficking. We still have a pandemic. These people are unvaccinated. They haven't been tested. And there's no attention from the Biden administration. This is the third president I've served alongside, by far the worst. Even Barack Obama deployed the National Guard to the southern border. Donald Trump, of course, deployed the National Guard, and Jerry Brown followed suit. Joe Biden hasn't been to the border.
Everyone in Washington is talking about Kyrsten Sinema. So you're a senator there. Did we all get her wrong? Did we all not know who Kyrsten Sinema was? Or is it the case that Kyrsten Sinema, maybe she knows who the Arizona voters are, and that's why she is not going for this Build Back Better Act?
Well, let's give it time. I mean, they're in the middle of negotiation, and she'll show everybody who she is soon enough.
So, do you think this is a political calculation on her behalf, on her part? Is this? I mean, what is? I mean, I guess that what I'm asking is, everyone. She's sort of a mystery to us. Is she a mystery to you?
She certainly is dramatically different than when she first ran for office as a member of the Green Party in Arizona and part of the progressive left, but she's not communicating. She's not talking to the press. She's not talking to her base. She's not talking to the citizens of Arizona, so your guess is as good as mine.
Does this surprise you that she's gone the way she's gone with Manchin, at least at this point? Did that surprise you? I thought she was a gimme vote for the...
Well, I think she's going to play this to what she sees as her maximum advantage.
Does this give her an advantage? I mean, she's probably going to get primaried, because I'm just wondering, this fellow, the other senator, is going along. I mean, he is a gimme vote. She's taking a different path. Who's having the easier path to re-election of those two? I mean, that's
well, she's not on the ballot this year.
Well, in a few years.
He is, and it's really a question for the two of them. I know as much about this as you do. I think that what's being proposed by the Democrat majority Congress is just a bad idea. I mean, this is a leap into big government socialism, and it will really hurt our competitiveness and free market capitalism that remains in our country.
So one of the stranger things in the last couple of weeks, story involving you, and we're in the Trump Hotel. So he called you a rhino, and I guess it's very strange to me. I mean, people might have a litmus test on abortion, they might have a litmus test on tax cuts. Do you get the impression that he has a litmus test on whether you think he won or not in 2020? I mean, he's starting to sound a little bit like Hillary Clinton, or like Uncle Rico saying, what he could do with a quarterback in 82. I mean, this is a bit, it's a bit odd to me, and maybe it's because you stare into the abyss, don't let the abyss stare back. Maybe because all of that stuff that happened to him with Russia and all of the phoniness. That if they could rig something like that he thinks maybe they rigged 2020. I don't know. Did you get the idea that he thinks this is a litmus test for whether he's going to support someone or not? I mean, something as petty as that?
Well, I think you could look at some of his past comments to see that. What I think from where I sit, and I think I was invited to this American Spectator dinner for a reason, and as the guy who's leading the Republican Governors Association, I don't think we should think about 2020 for one more moment. I think we've got to focus on 2022. I think we should have a record of accomplishment and achievement that we can take to the voters and make our case. And I think it should be a very good year for conservatives and Republicans.
So the last question. So on that note, I know you're not Madam Cleo, but looking forward to 2022. I mean, right now it looks pretty good. Do you get the sense that this is going to be another 94 or 2010? And if you do, why?
I think we definitely have the possibility for a national wave election. You picked the 2 years that I think it feels like right now. I think it's in response, one, to the overreach of the Biden administration, their incompetence, their lack of attention on the border, what we saw in Afghanistan, which I think was shameful for all Americans, and that we have the better ideas, we have the better policies, the economy was working, the border was secured, we were respected internationally, and the economy was booming. COVID-19 intervened, we did have the election year, but I think if we can properly present our ideas to the voters, we should take back the Congress, take back the majority in the Senate, and lay the groundwork for a successful 2024. That's the cycle that's in front of us.
Real last question. For you, I know you're not coming back as governor. You've been do you have any idea what your future is, and is politics involved in that future?
Well, governor's the job that I wanted. This has been a great job. I've got well over a year left. I'm also leading the RGA for this cycle. I think we have a chance for Glenn Youngkin to win in Virginia, possibly Jack Ciattarelli in New Jersey. We've got 27 sitting Republican governors. It's the only majority Republican conference in the country, and there's 36 races next year. I'm in charge of recruiting the best candidates, getting them over the finish line. My plate's full for right now.
So you have some good candidates.
Oh, I think we have some great candidates. Not only are we going to protect the Floridas, Georgias, Texas, Arizona, and Ohio's of the world, we can pick up Maine, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Kansas, and New Mexico.
Who's going to make some news of this crop of, I know some of them are people that have run before, but of this crop of candidates, and I don't know to what extent you can comment because they have primaries and things like that, but are there some people, some strong candidates that you're looking at?
Well, a familiar name is going to be Paul LePage. He was the two-term governor of Maine. He's coming back. He's tan, ready, and rested. He's coming back from Florida, and he's going to be running in Maine where he's lived his entire life. We've got a potential several excellent candidates in Michigan that are running. One's the former chief of police, African-American, born in Detroit, Michigan. He told the mayor that he was thinking of running for governor. The mayor said, why would a Democrat run against a Democrat? And the chief said, what makes you think I'm a Democrat? When he was a beat cop in LA 20 years previous, he registered Republican. The primary is going to have to play out there. But Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan, Tony Evers in Wisconsin have made themselves highly vulnerable by being very heavy-handed on the lockdown and the mandates for their citizens. Their kids have lost a lot of time in the classroom. And I think there's never been a greater contrast between Republican governors and Democrat governors. Without Republican governors, this country would have been shut down. We showed a way that we could balance lives and livelihoods. We think that's an opportunity not to protect our incumbents, but to take back blue states right now.
Do these people, if there's a shellacking, Evers' character, Whitmer, I mean, some of these people that were very heavy-handed, do they ever learn?
Well, I think they actually got a lot of good feedback for it. If you remember, there were Andrew Cuomo, Gavin Newsom, Gretchen, J.B. Pritzker. The harder they locked down, the more they were called leaders. So they've got a different governing philosophy. They believe in top-down, one-size-fits-all, and they'd rather trust the government than trust the individual and the family. And I don't think that's where America is.
Outstanding, I appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Dan.
Thank you.